Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of my How to Make a Card Game series. Um, so today is objectives. This is how to win the game. That's a terrible end, but I'm writing it sideways, so you can't really fault me. This is like the rules of the game. It's different from last episode. This episode, I'm mostly going to talk about how to win, and let's do that there, and how to lose. So I'm going to be doing a different style for this episode. It's going to be like a map I'm going to be drawing out. So winning and losing the game. There are two. This is how the game ends. And if the game is always a tie, you've done something wrong. So in my game, it's about mech suits. So in my game, the way to win is by crushing your opponent. So you lose the game by your mech breaking, and you win the game by your opponent's mech breaking. So that's a very classic way to win and lose is by most card games do it. Like you die, okay, you lose, and your opponent now wins. So I think choose in your game whether you want the main objective is not to lose or to win. So I think my game is going to be not to lose because that allows for multiplayer. This is if your mech dies, you're out of the game. Versus if you kill somebody's mech, you win the game. That's not really fair in multiplayer. If somebody destroys somebody's mech down to like 1 health, and then another player just kills that and wins, and that's not how it should work. So it's not to lose. In your card game, always make your key objective very clear. So maybe you want to get some treasure. This is going to be a terrible treasure chest. So you want to get some treasure. This is like a pirate game or whatever. It's just some game with that's your objective. You just want to get some treasure. You have it hidden, and there are a couple ways to get it. You want your path to be. You want it to be leading from where you start. From the starting point to the treasure. You want there to be no shortcuts, so going like skipping that, because people will take advantage of this. You do not want those. You want it to be a path you set, but they don't realize you've set this path. So you want to make it really hard to win any other way. Maybe, in my mech suit game, maybe there's another way to win. So you don't lose, or you can win by getting an objective. So, see, that says objective. So maybe there's like your mech, if you can do a certain number of events, you win. And that's like an alternative way to win. But you always want there to be one clear way to win the game. So that is by being the last player standing in my case. But that's not necessarily true. It could be to get something, get an item. It could be to maybe trigger a series of events. So go from maybe it's to go, do certain things in a certain order, and then you win. That's, but you've got to make sure it's complicated enough. Is that a 2? Whatever, that's a 2. So basically, if you make it too easy to win, people always take advantage of it. When I first made my game Conquest, I had a friend who played it, and he's amazing at card games. He knows exactly how to win. He latched on to what was a broken part of the game and won with it super quickly. And I had to fix that loophole. Make sure that there are no easy things to take advantage of. That makes the game not fun for other people. So going from design your web. So don't do 2 like I did. Do 1. So what's your main objective? So here's my second web. That's what you guys should do. So mine's lose. Don't lose. And if it's to win, then put win in there. Then go from, a side one that's winning, and then you can branch off of that and talk about, the ways you might win, and also the ways you might lose. I want to move the camera a second because I did it too. Okay. So this is losing. This is the main way somebody wins the game, is somebody else losing. But this is winning. Terrible handwriting. This is winning here. And then you can branch off and talk about the different ways people can win. And then you can talk about different ways people can lose. So these are all ways people can lose. These are all ways people can win. You can get creative and do tons of different things, but get these rules set down so you have a flow of the game. It goes from, starting point here all the way to winning here. And now, the second part of this video is, so this is where you want to be. You want to be the winner. This is where you start. Now, the second part of this video is going to be talking about this, how to fill in this space. So, first, I like having in my games a portion of it, so maybe like right here. I'm going to use a highlighter for that. So, yellow. Yellow. So this yellow part, right there, in that portion of the game, you want nothing to happen. You want nobody to be attacking each other. No, like, people trying to win. It's just, setting up for the later game. So what goes on here in my game is you building your mech. And use as a pointer. That's you building your mech, is right there. Then, in the next part of the game, maybe it's people, in this major part of the game, it's going to be, in my case, this orange part. People maybe fighting a little bit, tweaking their mechs, fighting a bit more, tweaking their mech. This is going to be the majority of the game. Make sure you have this refined. This is the most important. That's like a little star there. That is the most important part of your game. Make sure that is really good, because that's what people are going to want to play. If that part's really boring and everybody's doing nothing, that your game needs to be changed a bit. And finally, at the end, is sort of my least favorite part of the games. This is when people get like really violent. Violent in quotes, and everybody's cutthroat trying to win. Everybody's either out of the game or at the same stable-ish point where they have, some resources to win, and they're all fighting each other for the win. And this is where most people are going to, in my game, lose. But in some of the games, if you're trying to collect the treasure, from my previous example, in some other games, that's going to be where people are like almost winning. They've got like 4 out of 5 pieces. They need one more thing and they win the game, and everybody's trying to do that first. Then I'm actually going to use a second piece of paper for the first time in this series. I'm going to draw from about here. That was a weird flashing light. So that's my timeline. So I'm going to be talking about like the specifics. So as I said at the beginning, maybe about this much. About that much. Okay, so you see most of it. About that much is going to be people. This is when it's kind of nothing. Everybody's gaining the resources. This is kind of boring nothing. That first part. Then, as it continues on, we have the orange section. This part I don't really need to go in detail about because it's fairly boring. Then the majority of what goes on in your game is here. You want to make sure this is what you need to work on, is this orange part. The orange is the most important. This middle section of the game, when everything's going down, everything's happening. You want all of this to be fun, ideally. Fun. This is all fun right here. This is not boring. And what you need to do is make it so there's a cycle going through of somebody being number one, and then they cycle down to I'm just gonna draw that. And they cycle down to last eventually, and they get back up. You want a cycle of people winning. You don't want one person winning all through this. If there's one person winning in this section, it's less fun for everybody else. You want this to be a real section of doubt. Everybody's getting a turn at winning. Everybody's getting a turn. This is part of making your card game balanced. I'm going to talk about this a bit later, being balanced, but think about that now. Make sure there's not one easy way to win and things like that. And at the very end, this is where people are going to start to pull ahead. This is when the cycle should end of people, being the best, like the one that looks likely to win, then going to worse and back again. This is where that all changes. At the very end, bam, it just ends. There are people then killing each other, so they're going to be, in my case, they're going to be people out. They're going to be people who are gaining in power. So there'll be somebody who's clearly, winning, and maybe they don't win, but that doesn't really matter anymore. It's less about the evenness now. They've had all this time to be even, and one person's finally pulling ahead, or maybe it's a couple people pulling ahead. Maybe there's more than one leader in the section, but this is where everything ends. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you use this to make your own card game, and please show me all the card games you're making. I haven't been saying this enough, but I'm really interested in what games you guys are making. I know this video went a bit long, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Thanks for watching all the way through. It really does help. And I'll see you in episode 5, where we're going to be talking about some very interesting logistics of the game. This is where we're going to be talking about making the cards beautiful, making them refined, and knowing exactly what the game's going to look like. I'll see you guys in episode 5.